Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 9th of May. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. We come off of the Miami Heat taking a stranglehold of their Eastern Conference semifinal series over the New York Knicks last night. A game that was never in doubt. Miami goes ahead 3-1. That comes one night after the Florida Panthers go up 3-0 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both teams tomorrow night have a chance to do something historic. Never have the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers clinched a series on the same night. It's never happened in the history of these two franchises. We all know that's the Panthers' fault. The Heat have clinched many a series. But for the first time in history here in South Florida sports, tomorrow night, Game 4, FLA Live Arena. Tomorrow night, Game 5, Madison Square Garden in New York. The Panthers and the Heat can clinch their respective playoff series and each advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what we're talking about. So that's what we're doing today on the show. We're going to talk to Randy Moeller, legendary Florida Panthers color analyst. You know he's super excited. I've told you this before. I'm so happy for guys like Randy. He cares so much and works so hard about the Panthers. So I'm looking forward to getting him back on the show. We haven't talked to him in a couple months. So Randy will join us later on in the show. But obviously the main story today is your Miami Heat. Now, first of all, I want to let everybody know I'm super humbled and excited, happy, whatever you want to call it, with everyone. By the way, I'm a little, I think I'm coming down with a cold. I don't know. I maybe run down a little bit, but I'm coming down with a cold, so I hope you don't hear it too much in my voice. I'm fighting through it. We're all day to day, all right? I'm fighting through it just like everyone else out there. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Maybe we got some new listeners after yesterday's appearance on the Levitard show. I did the entire show, including the national hours. So the reaction has been fantastic. That always makes me feel good. The fun part about it, excuse me, the reality is I do the show. I do ZASLOW Show 2.0 here. I'm by myself. I do it on my own every single day. And it's just me, which is fine. I mean, I did ZASLOW Show 7 to 10 p.m. back in the day on $7.90 a ticket. I could do a solo show. I did it the last couple of years doing middays on my own when Amber Wilson left, But in those situations, there was at least a producer on the other side of the glass. And I'm not even bringing that up as an example of how I was able to bounce things off of someone else and not just talk to myself the whole time. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is I'm by myself here. It's just me. I don't go to work with anyone. I'm right here. It's only me. So on days like yesterday, where I get to go in and I'm around other people and having fun while working and doing a sports talk show with someone else, with several other people. It's really fun for me on a day like that yesterday. And, while you guys, the regular ZASLOW Show 2.0 listeners, you guys give me great feedback. You hit me up on Twitter at ZASLOW Show. Hit me up on Instagram where I'm an influencer at ZASLOWJ. You guys are great about that. But it's especially satisfying on a day like yesterday where, once again, I get exposed to a bigger audience and there's a lot of reaction and a lot of interaction post-show. And I was on live yesterday, which I haven't done live, well, it's not radio, but I haven't done a live sports talk show in 8 months, maybe it is. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is I do the show on my own. I'm here by myself every day, and I really dig it. But once in a while, to go in there and be around other people at work, it's a nice thing. So I appreciate those guys at Meadowlark for having me, of course. I know some people have asked, ZASLOW, is this going to be a regular thing? I don't think that's in the cards right now. We'll see. It's not really up to me, but we'll see what happens. I don't know what the future holds, all right? Just like how you guys are listening to this right now, in the future, you have information I don't have yet. Same thing here. Is something going to happen in the future where maybe I could do more stuff with them? I don't know. Only people who are in the future know about that. I don't know about that yet. So we'll see. All right. I would like something like that, but we'll see. So anyway, just wanted to say that. Wanted to get that out there. Super appreciative of those guys and of everyone's support. I'm really happy that I was able to hang out with them. And yeah, so there you have it. Okay. Anyway, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff, however you're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0. I appreciate you. So yesterday, look, let's be honest here. We talked about this all throughout the Levitard show. Yesterday went down pretty much how we thought it was going to go down. Now, did I think there was a scenario where the Heat were going to blow out the Knicks? Yeah, I was able to see that, just like in Game 3. But that game yesterday was never, ever in doubt. The Heat were up by 8 points the whole game. Anytime the Knicks looked to make a run, like they would score 2 baskets in a row, the Heat came back with a 3. Or the Heat came back with an offensive rebound and then got to the free throw line. They never allowed the Knicks to get more than a couple baskets in a row. They never allowed that run from New York. The Heat were ahead by 8 the entire game. And just like going into Game 3, going into Game 4 yesterday, there was no part of me that saw any scenario where the Heat were not winning that game yesterday. It was always Heat going up 3-1. It was always the Heat being, winning games 3 and 4. Now, by the way, 4-0 at home this postseason. 4-0 at home this postseason. And what are we talking about? 3-2 on the road, right? That's excellent. They were 2-1 in Milwaukee, right? Yeah. And 1-1 New York. 4-0 at home, 3-2 on the road. That is championship basketball right there. And we know this is not a regular 8 seed. So last night, before the game started, I'm on ESPN radio with Joe and Amber Wilson, great girl, my former co-host. So I'm on with them right before the game starts at like 7:15. And I told them, first of all, I represent, of course, not worried at all. Heat are definitely winning this game. It's bad news for the Knicks. Everybody knows that. And like I said, this game was never in doubt. I was never concerned going into the game. The Heat were up the entire game, up 8 the entire game, but this is not a normal 8 seed. This was the overriding point that I made to them. This is not your normal 8 seed. It never felt like the game was going to be in doubt. They're better than New York. This is a pretty common thing. This isn't surprising for a Tom Thibodeau team. I'm not saying Thibodeau's not a good coach. He is a good coach, and he manages to get the most out of his guys. But this is a typical Tom Thibodeau team. Overachieve in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, you're going to play teams that are better than you every single night, and then it is what it is. This is what it was like with all of his Bulls teams. Remember 2011, Derrick Rose MVP, Bulls best record in the Eastern Conference? Okay, you play super hard, you defend, you're going to win a lot of regular season games. And then you get to the postseason, and it's Heat and 5 all day. That was the case for all those Bulls teams that Thibodeau coached. Great regular season team, overachieve in the regular season, win a lot of games when you're playing bad teams throughout 82. Then you get to the postseason, and the Heat are better than you. And that's exactly what's happened here with his Knicks team. The Heat are better than you. And you know what? It doesn't look like a small margin either. It looks like the Heat are better by a lot. The Knicks played 2 games here. They led twice, both in the first quarter yesterday, by a point. Spent an entire weekend here, played 2 games. They had 2 leads. Both were yesterday in the first quarter, by a single point. Heat in 5, baby. No reason to believe otherwise. Is it possible the Knicks extend the series? Totally. But there is no reason to believe that the Heat do not close this thing out tomorrow night in New York. This is a serious Heat team. This is a taking care of business kind of Heat team. This is a Heat team that is the exact opposite of what we saw in the regular season. This is a Heat team that takes advantage of opportunities. And just like last round, taking advantage of the opportunity that's right in front of them. So, yesterday going into the game, what did we say? We know Jimmy's going to have a big game, which he did. And by the way, one of my favorite parts about the game yesterday is the Heat were in control of the entire game, and it's not like Jimmy had this dominant effort. Now, what are we talking? 18 of his 27 came in the second half? But it's not like Jimmy took over the game at any point. It was all throughout the game, he is methodically having a big game. He's not flashy. And he didn't have to dominate yesterday. It was just the entire game, he's going to be really effective, especially in the second half. So Jimmy, 27 points and 10 assists. The Heat win that game yesterday by not even having some monster kind of takeover performance from Jimmy Butler. But we knew Jimmy was going to have a huge game. And I told you going into the game as well, hey, start giving Bam some credit, because as the playoffs go on, Bam is getting better and better. Go look at what Bam has done since the closeout Game 5 in Milwaukee. Which, by the way, he had that brutal first half against the Bucks. And then in the second half, he was phenomenal. That Game 5 in Milwaukee, triple-double, first time ever in the postseason for him. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He was just 8 of 20 on the floor, but played huge in the second half. Game 1 this series, 16-8. He was 7 of 13. Okay. Game 2, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 of 10. We didn't love that game. He only took 10 shots. No Jimmy. He blamed himself afterward. Okay. Game 3, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Big response. 7 of 14 from the floor, D'ing up the Knicks. Game 4 last night, better and better. And I told you going into the game, Bam's been good, but I think we're due for a really good Bam game. I called 25 points last night. Bam last night, 23 points, 13 rebounds, 10 of 17 from the floor. A lot of Bam in the first half, a lot of Jimmy in the second half. Bam was great last night. He was aggressive. He was getting at the basket, layups, dunks early on. He was great. So you knew, or at least if you listened to me, you knew Jimmy and Bam were going to be very good yesterday. The formula for the Heat need 2 more guys. 2 more guys to have big games. Now, the guys who had big games in Game 3, Strus and Lowry. Didn't expect Strus to have back-to-back good games. Can't expect Lowry. So didn't expect either of those two to be huge again for a second game in a row. Well, what happens? Full credit to Kyle Lowry. He's been very, very good. He was very good for a second consecutive game. Now, when are we going to see a big performance from Lowry again? Can it be 3 consecutive games? I wouldn't think so. But I didn't think he'd get you back-to-back good games. So Lowry, last night, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, and it was Strus again with 16 points. So those were your 2 guys. You needed 2 more guys stepping up. I pegged Love and Robinson as those 2 guys. Here's reality. Robinson was 1 of 7 from 3. If Robinson can hit a couple more threes, this game's a blowout. He couldn't get anything to go. And Love played a good game. 8 points, 5 rebounds, knocked down a pair from 3. I thought we'd get a double-digit game from Love. Love was good enough last night. But it was Strus and Lowry who had the huge games. And you look at the Heat bench, tremendous. 32 points from... How about this? No Tyler Hero, no Victor Oladipo, still 32 points from the Heat bench. And here's the thing. So you don't have Oladipo coming off the bench, but from Hero not being around means all right, you're taking a bench player, putting him in the starting lineup. You're depleting the bench with Hero being out too. And this Heat bench, 32 points in a playoff game, continuing to provide. Come on, son. Between Love, Vincent, Robinson, Martin. Those are the four guys who didn't give you production offensively in Game 3. So I was looking for two of those guys to give you production in Game 4. But overall, what did I say? Between those four guys, give me 8 3-point field goals made, right? And the Heat shot the three very well good. They were 13 of 39. Like, it's fine. It's not good. It's fine. But between those four guys, Love, Vincent, Martin, Robinson, give me 8 threes last night. That's what I wanted. We got 6. Love gave you 2. Vincent gave you 1. Robinson gave you 1. Martin gave you 2. I wanted 8 threes from those four guys. You got 6. And in a game where, like I said, Jimmy didn't have to take over. He was methodically great. You held this Knicks team at bay where they were never a threat. Never a threat. Before we get back to the Knicks, I want to tell you guys, huge Miami Heat fans are one of our new sponsors here on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Water Cleanup of Florida. The Greenstein boys were talking over 60 combined years of experience they have when it comes to water restoration. Huge South Florida sports fans. Look, rain, flood, it's been historic here over the last month. That's a big deal, all right? If you think your home or your business may have been damaged from the flooding recently, Water Cleanup of Florida is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Water Cleanup of Florida knows the impact, the stress that any of these unexpected disasters can cause. Make sure you use a local contractor like Water Cleanup of Florida, not any of these flyby companies from out of state. Flood water, it also produces mold growth within days if it's not taken care of properly. So if you're your neighbor, you're like, oh, you know what, we'll just sweep it out and then we'll turn on the fan and it's all good. Nah, Water Cleanup of Florida, that's not a big deal if you call them and let them take care of it. 954-900-8635. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida anytime. You could also visit them online, WCUFL.com. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. So the Heat and Panthers can do something historic tomorrow night. You've never had both teams win a series, clinch a series on the same night. Tomorrow night has a chance to be very special. Very special. I'm very excited. So, last night, great crowd, of course, as you would always expect there. They're calling it Kaseya Center this week. But I'm so impressed, man. You watch this game, and I think you guys probably all feel the same way. You watch this game, and you're really confident in this team. They're not an 8 seed. They're not. They're just not. And I'm not talking about like us because they're really a 7 seed because they're playing. Forget about it. It's negligible, the difference between a 7 and 8 seed. It's not an 8 seed. And I'm very confident in them being able to close out the game tomorrow. And if they don't close it out tomorrow, I'm even more confident they close out the game Friday night, Game 6 here in Miami. That game was never in doubt. And here's another reality check. Series should have been a sweep. Yep. Should have been a sweep. You go ahead, blame Scott Foster if you want. Blame whoever you want. Series should have been a sweep. We lose 2 points off the shot clock. We lose 4 points with that bullshit foul, which was before the 3-pointer on Bam. Series should have been a sweep. And Jimmy didn't play that game. And don't give me Randle didn't play game number 1. What about this series have you seen that makes you believe this series should not have been a sweep? What about this series makes you believe if Randle played game 1, it would have went any different? The Heat are better. And it ended exactly how I told you it would last night. With Julius Randle sitting on the end of that Knicks bench with the puss on the face complaining about the officiating. Exactly the way I told you it would end. Heat in 5. That's right. Well, that's what we're looking at. That's exactly what we're looking at. That's what I'm talking about. What a great few weeks. I can't even absorb it. I can't even comprehend what an amazing few weeks it's been. So good. Anyway, like I said, we're going to talk to Randy Moeller coming up. We'll do some Panthers with him. Real quick, you guys know I love telling you about Sheets and Giggles. Go to sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW. You get 20% off your first order. Use promo code HEAT, and you're going to get 25% upon checkout. Sheets and Giggles, you, just like the ZASLOW family, can become one of over 100,000 Americans who are now sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. The bedding, the fitted sheets, I love the comforter. I got a eucalyptus pillow. You need a new mattress? A eucalyptus mattress. We're talking environmentally friendly, sustainably made from the wood of eucalyptus trees. That's right, grown on sustainably managed biodiverse farms. Excuse me. So, my man Colin cares about the environment, super huge Miami Heat fan, super huge South Florida sports fan, so you know you're spending your money in the right place, and he's helping us sleep. What more can you ask for? Sheets and Giggles, you heard them on the Levitard Show, now they hear them on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Sheetsgiggles.com. All right. What else we got to get to here today? So, the Panthers. This is interesting, right? The Panthers resume tomorrow. Panthers have a chance to sweep that ass. I fully expect that. I think the Maple Leafs are a dead team walking. But you may have noticed the Panthers, according to BetMGM, at plus 375, are now the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup. That's right. Now, I'm not going to ask Randy Moeller about that. I don't want to jinx anything. That's going to make him super uncomfortable. The Panthers, according to BetMGM, at plus 375, are the betting favorite to win the whole damn thing. Now, this struck me as interesting. So what do? I reach out to my pal Nick Costos. You bet, BetMGM network. I'm like, hey, man, what do you make of this? Panthers are betting favorites? And what he said makes a lot of sense. The Panthers are the betting favorites right now to win the Stanley Cup. It's because they're up 3-0. When next round starts, assuming the Panthers get there, when next round starts, they will no longer be the Stanley Cup favorites. Why? ZASLOW, how does that make any sense? They're closer to the Stanley Cup, and now they're not going to be Stanley Cup favorites? Because right now, of all the teams remaining, they have the best chance of getting out of this round. And if you get out of this round, and the other teams don't have as good a chance of getting out of this round, you are most likely to win the Stanley Cup out of all the other teams. You look at the Kraken and the Stars, they're 2-1. You look at the Oilers and who are they playing? Who are the Oilers playing? That series is 2-1 also. You look at the Hurricanes and the Devils, they're 2-1. Every other series is 2-1. The Oilers are playing the Knights. Every other series is 2-1. Vegas leads Edmonton 2-1. Are they going to get out of that series? I don't know. It's a close series. Hurricanes lead the Devils 2-1. It's a close series. Kraken lead the Stars 2-1. It's a close series. You don't know who's going to get out of those three series. The one that you do know the team is going to win is the Panthers. They're up 3-0. So if you know one team is going to make the conference finals and the other 6 teams available, you don't know which team is the favorite to win the whole thing. Which team's the favorite to win the Stanley Cup? The Panthers. So I thought that was really interesting the way that he spelled it out for me. So yeah, the Panthers right now are the Stanley Cup favorites, but if they advance and whoever else advances, Panthers will no longer be the Stanley Cup favorite. Maybe they'll be second, maybe they'll be third, but once we get to the Final Four, hey, they may be fourth. But once we get to the Final Four, if the Panthers get there, they will no longer be the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. So that was interesting. I thought that made a lot of sense. All right, let's get Randy Moeller on the show. Well, you know what? Hold on. Let me do a little bit of NBA here for you, because last night there was some important stuff that happened, all right? The Warriors took Lakers took a 3-1 series lead over the Warriors. Warriors look like dead team walking. Terrible performance in the fourth quarter by the Warriors. They were up by 12 in the third. They led by 7 going into the fourth. Lonnie Walker, shout out. University of Miami, 15 points for the game, all in the fourth quarter. And the Lakers take a commanding 3-1 series lead over the Warriors. That series is over. I would have thought that the Warriors championship medal, they've been in this spot before. I would have thought they'd have won last night. Now, could the Warriors defend home court game 5, send it back to 6 in LA? Yeah. There is no way LeBron blows a 3-1 series lead. Lakers probably win game 5. There is no way the Lakers blow a 3-1 lead. Warriors are done. We also learned yesterday Nikola Jokic was fined, not suspended. He was fined $25,000. I saw you had some people on social media who were upset because Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, the one who got into the scuffle with him, sent out a tweet yesterday saying the focus should be on the game. We're having an incredible series. Jokic should not be fined or suspended. Let's just keep moving on and having a great series. That was the right thing to do. Smart move by Ishbia there. I mean, he needs to curb his behavior, but smart move there. And yet people were upset that Jokic was still fined. Ishbia came out and said he shouldn't be fined or suspended. Listen, he doesn't make the rules. That's his opinion. He does not make the rules. So the fine seemed obvious. I think he gets lucky because by the letter of the law, Jokic probably should have been suspended. I'm glad they decided against that. Now, here's something else that came out yesterday. And I can't believe this. So before the Laker game yesterday, Chris Haynes, NBA on TNT reporter, here he is talking about how if the Lakers were to win the championship, which, by the way, they're 9 wins away. Can we settle down? And at this point, it was before the game, they were 10 wins away. Here's Chris Haynes. If the Lakers win the championship, they're going to give everyone who was on their team this year, even all those guys who were traded, and you know this report is only about Russell Westbrook, the Lakers are going to give them all rings.
Now, if the Lakers were able to win the whole thing, win the championship, I was told by a high-ranking source within the organization that they would extend a championship ring to all players who were on the roster at any point during this season. So that means if the Lakers win the whole thing, Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverley, and others will receive a championship ring. I was told that was a protocol and a system that was put in place by Rob Pelinka when he took over. It's just a way to make sure players understand that they value them, even though they didn't make it from beginning to the end of the season with the Lakers. So a lot of storylines to cover here with the Lakers Warriors. It should be a good series, and that's all I have for you guys.
Okay, so first of all, like I said, the fact that this is even being talked about right now, when at that time of that report they're 10 wins away, is so stupid. Also, you know this report. They traded away a lot of guys this year. You know this report is directed at the one and only Russell Westbrook. And number 3, the whole idea that you give a championship ring to anyone who is on the team at any time of year, even if they were traded away because you needed to get better players to help you win the championship. They literally traded away those guys, Russell Westbrook notably, because they were holding the team back, and the players they get in return are going to help the team win a championship. Getting rid of you, and again, we know this report is specifically about Russell Westbrook. Getting rid of you helped us win a championship. Here's your championship ring is so corny. If you're not on the team when they win the championship, you're not on the team that won the championship. That's so corny to give rings to players who are not on the team anymore. And I got news for you. There is no way Russell Westbrook wants a championship ring from the Los Angeles Lakers. He's never won a championship before. You think the way he wants to win a ring is the Lakers give him a participation ring? When the way that they became a championship club was by getting rid of him? This rule that the Lakers have is so corny. No one wants your ring when you were traded away. No one. So corny. I'll tell you what's not. By the way, tonight, big NBA night. Philadelphia at Boston, Game 5. Phoenix at Denver, Game 5. I'll tell you what's not corny. Making sure your home is covered. All right? If you don't have home insurance right now, what happens if there's a storm? What happens if you have all kinds of damage? What if there's a flood? We've seen what the weather is recently. You need to get insurance, and you need to do it yesterday. I'm sending you to Brunt Insurance. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. You can't just go do this research on your own. I know what kind of insurance I want. The market's confusing. Call Brunt Insurance at 954-589-2204. Make sure you get exactly the coverage that you need. You tell them what kind of home you have. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. They're going to make sure you're covered from A to Z. And it doesn't matter where you're calling from here in Florida, because from Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance is delivering you that comprehensive insurance tailored exactly to your needs. And you know what? Maybe you don't own your home. You rent, you have a condo. Yeah, they're going to get you covered there as well. You need insurance for your boat. You need car insurance. 954-589-2204. Also, you can go to bruntinsurance.com. I've been using Brunt Insurance to get covered for about 10 years now. There's a reason why I renew with them every single year. Again, Brunt Insurance, 954-589-2204.